Hey guys and girls, Fishfinder Coach Hugh Cosquella. In this quick video, we're going to be talking about how to find the right size battery for your setup, whether you're running 1, 2, 3 fish finders, forward-facing sonar, or even 360 imaging. What we're going to do in this video is we are going to look at a table or look at the manufacturer's website to determine how many amps each fish finder or each piece of equipment is going to draw on our battery. Then what we're going to do, we are going to add all of those together. We are going to add a margin of error of 20% or more, depending on your scenario. And then we're going to multiply that by how many hours we are fishing in a day at maximum. And then that's how we're going to find our battery. We might go a little bit higher than that just to add a little bit extra security. Just make sure we have enough juice to get us through the day. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to the Fishfinder Coach's website now, and we are going to be looking at a table that I've already created for you of the most common fish finders and some of the other pieces of equipment like the GLS 10 black box for LiveScope to see what the common amperages are. I'm also going to be going over how we can look at the manufacturer's website like Garmin, Humminbird, or Lowrance to figure out what we need to look for. My setup that I'm going to talk about in this example is going to be this Garmin GPS Map 1223 Touch. I'm going to pair that with my GLS 10 black box for my LiveScope. What I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down on the page and I'm going to find my GPS Map 1223, and I can see that it's pulling 1.67 amps. Then I can keep scrolling down until I get to the GLS 10 LiveScope box, and that is going to be pulling 1.75 amps total. When I add those two together, I'm going to get 3.42 amps. Now we can just jump over from amps to amp hours. How many amps is it going to use in an hour as an amp hour, basically? It's kind of easy. So with this setup, I'm going to be using 3.42 amp hours. What we're going to do next is we are going to find a margin of error. I like going 20%, you can go 30%. I just like making sure that I have extra juice out on the water. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply it by 1.2 to make sure that I get a 20% margin of error. That can be things like maybe there's bad wiring in my system, maybe something's going on with my battery, maybe something's going on with my unit. Just a little bit of heads up for me to make sure that I have a little bit of extra cushion. I get 4.1 amp hours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply that by the hours that I'm fishing in a day or a trip, or in between charges is really what I care about. So if you're plugging your batteries in every single night, okay, that's okay. But if you're going fishing for 1, 2, or 3 days in a row without charging your batteries, we need to know that. I'm going to be multiplying it for how many hours my unit and the LiveScope box are going to be turned on for without charging. I plug my batteries in every single day, so this is going to be a single day. I'm going to shoot for the maximum. I'm in the wintertime right now. The summertime, the days are a lot longer. I might be fishing for 14 or 15 hours in a day. Okay, I need to account for that. Say I'm going to fish for 12 hours. That's what a lot of people do. I'm going to multiply my amp hours by the hours I'm going to fish in a day, the maximum. That's going to bring me to 49.25 amp hours. That is the minimum battery I need for me to feel safe on the water. That gives us a 20% cushion. So I'm going to recommend a 50 amp hour battery for that, or a 60 or a 70. Bigger is always better. What we're going to be talking about in this example is the minimum that I need to be out there safely and run my equipment. Now, if I don't have your fish finder or your piece of equipment, it's pretty easy to find. Most manufacturers will have it on their website under the specifications tab, electrical features in this case for the Garmin. Now, like I said, I'm doing typical. It might take a lot of juice if you're just turning that fish finder on. This is typical usage, typical brightness out on the water. Like I said, if you want to make sure that you are safe on the water, go with that maximum. And you can see in this example for the Garmin that this is based on 12 volts DC. This is going to be the same calculation, but units are going to require a different amperage at different voltages, like 16 volts or 20 volts. I need to take that into account, and I've got another table for 16 volts amp requirements in a different page. So in this quick video, we talked about how we are going to calculate how big of a battery we need based on the setup that we have, the fish finders, the transducers, the black boxes, maybe even bilge pumps. We're going to see what the typical amp draw is. We're going to add them together. We are going to multiply that by a margin of safety. For me, 20% is the minimum just to make sure I'm safe out of the water. And then we're gonna multiply that by the maximum hours that we are gonna fish without a charge, and that is gonna be my minimum recommended battery size for your setup. We also talked about how we're gonna start to find some of these numbers, the amperages, based on the manufacturer's website. And for some products, it might just say on the bottom of the product, like a bilge pump, how many amps are required to run this pump. Hopefully this video helps you guys in determining the right size battery. If you guys wanna get the best settings or learn how to read your sonar, whether it's 2D sonar, side imaging, or forward-facing sonar, go to fishfindercoach.com and check out what we have to offer.